Imagine this. It's past midnight. The air is thick with silence, broken only by the sound of something moving in the shadows. Your heart races as you realize you're not alone. Across the world, legends speak of creatures lurking in the dark, beings so terrifying that just hearing their names can send chills down your spine. But what if I told you these aren't just stories? What if they're warnings? Tonight, we uncover 5 of the most chilling beings from global folklore. From forests to deserted roads, each tale will test your courage and make you question what's truly out there. Stay until the end to learn the one thing these creatures all have in common and why it matters more than you think. Ready to step into the darkness? Imagine this. You're deep in the Canadian wilderness, miles away from civilization. The snow is thick, the cold bites through your skin, and the silence, it's deafening. All you have is your group of friends and the vague hope of finding your way back. But something else is out there, watching, waiting. Something that hungers not for food, but for you. A group of tech-savvy hikers decides to live stream their winter expedition to gain followers. The trip is meticulously planned, with GPS devices, drones, and survival gear, but the wilderness has a way of humbling even the best preparations. As night falls, the group sets up camp. The temperature plummets, and the atmosphere becomes eerily quiet. One hiker notices something odd during a drone sweep, movement in the distance. They dismiss it as a deer or a moose. Later that night, strange tracks are discovered around their camp. They're too large for any known animal and lead straight into the forest. You follow the tracks, curiosity outweighing caution. The snow crunches beneath your boots, the trees seem to close in, and then you see it, or at least you think you do. A shadow, too tall, too thin, moving unnaturally fast. One hiker goes missing. The group splits up to search, despite their fears. The missing person's voice echoes through the trees, pleading for help. But when they follow the voice, they find nothing, just silence. Suddenly, the Wendigo appears, a grotesque skeletal figure with glowing eyes and an insatiable hunger. It's not just a creature, but a force of nature, drawn to those who've tasted desperation and fear. As the group attempts to flee, their tech begins to fail. GPS signals scramble, the drone crashes, and their live stream glitches, showing distorted images of the Wendigo. One hiker sacrifices themselves to distract the creature, allowing the others to escape. As they stumble back to safety, they realize the sacrifice may not have been enough. The Wendigo is still out there, hunting. The Wendigo isn't just a legend, it's a warning, a tale of greed, desperation, and what happens when humans push too far into the unknown. As for the hikers, their story became a viral sensation. The footage was recovered, but no one could explain the shadowy figure that appeared in the last frames. Some dismissed it as a hoax. Others, they know better. As the icy forests of Canada echo with the hunger of the Wendigo, let's journey to the tropical landscapes of the Philippines, where an entirely different creature stalks the night, a mischievous yet fearsome being known as the tikbalang. Picture this. You're driving through a remote province in the Philippines, the kind of place where the roads are barely paved, and the jungle seems to swallow the world whole. It's late, your GPS isn't working, and you've been driving in circles for hours. But then, you see it. A figure, towering, half man, half horse, its glowing eyes fixed on you. The locals warned you about the tikbalang, but you didn't listen. And now, you're in its territory. A tech enthusiast and his partner are road tripping to create vlog content about haunted locations. They've heard rumors about the tikbalang and decide to explore a lesser-known jungle road despite the locals' warnings. The couple notices strange things. The same tree they passed earlier appears again. A peculiar silence falls. No insects, no birds. They dismiss it as GPS glitches and their own paranoia. As they continue driving, the headlights catch a fleeting glimpse of something massive darting across the road. The car skids to a halt. The man checks the dash cam, but the footage is static. When he steps out to investigate, he finds hoof prints and a single strand of coarse golden hair. That night, they decide to camp in the car. The jungle comes alive with unnatural sounds, laughter that sounds human but isn't. The crunch of leaves, as if someone or something is circling the vehicle. Suddenly, the car begins to rock violently. Through the fogged-up windows, they see it. A tikbalang standing tall, its humanoid face twisted into a mocking grin. It doesn't attack. It doesn't need to. Instead, it vanishes into the jungle, leaving you trapped in its endless loop of confusion and fear. The couple tries to escape by driving, but no matter which direction they go, they end up back where they started. In desperation, they remember the locals' advice. Turn your clothes inside out. Offer a gift of respect. They comply, leaving their camera and some food by the side of the road. Moments later, the jungle feels lighter, and the GPS signal returns. As they drive away, the dashcam mysteriously turns back on. The final frame shows a blurry image of the tikbalang watching them leave, its eyes glowing in the dark. Tikbalangs are said to guard the jungles of the Philippines, punishing those who disrespect their domain. The couple never shared their footage. It was too personal, too real. But when they returned to the city, strange things began to happen. The faint sound of hooves, a shadowy figure outside their window. It seems the tikbalang doesn't forget so easily. The tikbalang may lure travelers into the wilderness, but across the ocean in the American Southwest, a darker, more sinister transformation awaits. Meet the skinwalkers, masters of disguise and harbingers of fear. Imagine this. You're camping in the heart of Navajo country, under a sky bursting with stars. The desert feels endless, quiet, serene. But as the fire dies and the shadows grow, you hear it, the unmistakable sound of footsteps. Except, they're not human. The locals warned you about the skinwalkers, shapeshifters who walk between worlds, but you didn't believe them. And now, they've come for you. Two urban explorers, obsessed with uncovering forbidden lore, decide to document the Skinwalker legend for their podcast. They've heard whispers of Skinwalker Ranch and tales of encounters, but they dismiss them as superstition. Armed with AI thermal imaging cameras and drones, they venture into the desert, hoping to debunk the myth. As night falls, strange phenomena occur. Their cameras pick up heat signatures that vanish when approached. Animal tracks appear around their camp, but they shift. One moment a wolf's, the next human. One explorer steps away to retrieve the drone. Moments later, he radios back, his voice shaky. Something's wrong. I think someone's watching me. When he doesn't return, his partner searches for him, only to find the drone lying shattered in the sand and a trail of footprints leading away. Footprints that start human, but morph into clawed prints. The partner calls out, and from the shadows, his missing friend emerges. But something's off. His movements are jerky, unnatural. You look into his eyes, and they're wrong, too dark, too empty. And when he speaks, it's your voice, not his. Realizing something isn't right, the partner runs back to camp. But the desert seems to stretch endlessly. Every sound, every whisper, every rustle of leaves feels amplified. Finally, he reaches the camp only to find himself face to face with a wolf-like creature standing on two legs. Its eyes glow an unnatural red, and it speaks in a voice that's eerily familiar. Why are you here? Desperate, the explorer remembers the advice he read in Navajo lore. Never speak to the skinwalker. Use fire and ash as protection. He lights the remaining firewood and forms a circle of ash around himself. The skinwalker doesn't attack, but stalks him, its presence overwhelming. Suddenly, the creature mimics the voice of his missing friend, pleading for help, trying to lure him out. Just before dawn, the creature vanishes, leaving only claw marks on the sand. The partner escapes but finds no sign of his friend, only the shattered drone and a single tuft of fur. Skinwalkers are more than myth. They're a warning, a lesson about respect and boundaries. The survivor never spoke of the encounter again, but in his podcast's final recording, there's a moment of static and a voice in the background, a voice that shouldn't have been there. While the skinwalkers transform to deceive, the Rakshasa of India take deception to another level, blending their demonic prowess with a chilling hunger for chaos. Deep in the heart of India's ancient forests, there are tales whispered around fires of Rakshasas, malevolent shapeshifters who prey on human flesh and thrive on deception. Now imagine this. You're trekking through one such forest, your GPS flickering, the modern world feeling impossibly far away. Then you see it, a pair of glowing eyes in the darkness, and you realize the stories were never just stories. A group of urban adventurers, lured by online rumors of a cursed temple hidden in the forest, decides to uncover the truth. Among the posts on a conspiracy forum, there are warnings. The Rakshasa guards the temple. Those who seek the treasure never return. They dismiss the warnings as clickbait and rely on their drone and satellite maps to find the way. As they approach the temple, the air grows heavy. They find claw marks etched into the trees and a pungent smell of decay. One of the explorers, Ravi, ventures ahead and stumbles upon a shrine with offerings left untouched. He hears a voice, a soft melodic tone calling his name. When the others catch up, they find Ravi speaking to a beautiful woman in traditional attire. But something about her is off. Her feet are backward. You try to warn Ravi, but it's too late. Her hand extends unnaturally long, claws glinting in the moonlight. Ravi's scream echoes through the forest as the Rakshasa reveals its true form, a hulking beast with glowing eyes and a predator's grin. Panicked, the group flees deeper into the forest. But the Rakshasa is not merely a beast, it's a master of illusion. One moment, the explorers see a clear path. The next, they're surrounded by mirrors reflecting their terrified faces. They hear their own voices calling for help from different directions, luring them into traps. Remembering a legend shared by Ravi earlier, one of the explorers recalls that Rakshasas fear fire and sacred symbols. They hastily draw a protective circle using ash from a burnt tree and recite a mantra they find carved into the temple walls. The Rakshasa appears at the edge of the circle, snarling but unable to cross. It taunts them, shifting into the form of their loved ones, begging them to step outside. Your heart pounds as you see the Rakshasa take the form of your sister, your best friend, your mother. "Why are you leaving me here?" it asks, tears glistening in its eyes. But you know the truth. You can't trust what you see. Dawn breaks, and the Rakshasa retreats, defeated by the rising sun. The group escapes, but they're changed, haunted by the beast's illusions. Legends warn of the Rakshasa's cunning, its ability to twist reality and exploit your deepest fears. The group returned to the city, but they never spoke of the encounter. And yet, late at night, in the glow of their screens, they swear they still see those glowing eyes, watching, waiting. The Rakshasa may haunt the living with their terrifying schemes, but in the misty countrysides of the UK, a solitary figure roams, a phantom hound whose glowing eyes spell doom. This is the Black Shuck. In the moors and coastal roads of East Anglia, travelers whisper of a shadow that hunts the night. A creature with blazing red eyes, as large as a horse, stalking those who wander alone. They call it Black Shuck, a harbinger of death. Now imagine this. You're walking down a foggy lane late at night, the sound of your footsteps swallowed by the silence. Then you hear it, a low growl, close and menacing. You turn, and there it is, watching. A local journalist, Grace, receives an assignment to investigate the resurgence of Black Shuck sightings. TikTok videos and blurry dashcam footage of glowing red eyes on dark country roads have gone viral. Skeptical but curious, she drives out to Bungay, a small village infamous for a historic encounter with the beast during a lightning storm centuries ago. Grace interviews locals, most brushing off the legend as superstition. But an elderly man warns her, "Shuck isn't just a story, lass. It's a warning. If you see it, someone dies." Later that evening, Grace ventures onto a deserted path where sightings were reported. Her car stalls unexpectedly, and the headlights flicker before shutting off entirely. As she steps outside to check the engine, the rain stops abruptly. Then, she hears it, a low growl. She turns, and her breath catches. Two glowing red eyes pierce the darkness, and a massive shadow emerges. A dog, impossibly large, its teeth bared in a wicked grin. Grace freezes. Run or stay? Panicking, she scrambles back into the car and locks the doors. But the beast doesn't attack. It circles the vehicle, its eyes never leaving hers. The growl turns into a low, haunting howl, and suddenly the car starts on its own. When she looks in the rearview mirror, the beast is gone. But a single massive paw print is left on the hood. Grace believes she's escaped, but as she returns to her hotel, she finds an ominous text from an unknown number. "The eyes always find you." That night, she dreams of the beast stalking her through endless foggy streets. She wakes to find scratches on her bedroom window, despite being on the 3rd floor. The next morning, she receives devastating news. Her colleague, who had mocked the legend, was found dead on a deserted road near Bungay. The cause? Massive lacerations resembling claw marks. Grace realizes the beast isn't done with her. Desperate, she searches for answers and discovers an old ritual said to ward off Black Shuck. At midnight, she lights a candle and circles herself with salt while chanting an ancient protection spell. As the candle flickers, the room grows cold. The beast appears at the edge of the circle, its red eyes glowing brighter than ever. It snarls, its claws just inches from the salt. You can feel its rage, its hunger. And then, it smiles. Because you know the truth. Black Shuck doesn't need to touch you to claim you. The beast vanishes, leaving behind a single black feather. Now it's your turn. Have you ever heard of creatures like these where you live? Maybe there's a chilling legend from your hometown? Share your story in the comments. I'd love to hear it. If you enjoyed exploring the shadows with me tonight, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more spine-tingling tales, and share it with friends who love the eerie and mysterious. And remember, the night is full of stories. Which one will we uncover next? Stay curious, stay brave, and I'll see you in the next episode.